Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the threats of AI, which is not a nice topic, of course, but indeed it is something we should talk about. How do you feel about ChatGPT writing your judgment? Interesting approach. For a very long time, it was just a fiction movie. It is reality today. How do you feel about your voice and image being used by AI and make money out of it? Again, reality today. So, although a few days ago, UK's Prime Minister announced that the first treaty, international treaty, about the threats of AI and how to treat them was signed in UK by 43 countries, including China, US, and all the members of the European Union. The race actually started 2018, and there is still no law stating about the threats and the regulations of AI. So let us first look at the landscape, how it evolved during the years, and then maybe zoom in into some of the main principles that are agreed already. Because even if we want to regulate the use of AI, we still need to play with the current rules that we have to tackle their threats and also to defend ourselves. Well, first organization that actually started to talk about the use of AI was Council of Europe, when they admitted ethical charter for the judicial systems. It was 2018. Next was European Commission, who established a high-level group of experts to think about the ethical basic rules of AI, the use of AI. Then OECD woke up, and of course the European Parliament, who stated their opinion about the civil liability of the use of AI. And then World Health Organization gave its principles how to use AI in healthcare. And now we are in the position where in Bleachley Declaration, the first commitment was taken by at the international level. And we are still waiting for the EU AI Act. The negotiations have been very long and very tense, but there is a hope that by the end of this year, the regulation is there. There is also a hope that the AI Act will repeat the success story of the GDPR, that if at the European level the principles and the rules are already taken, then other countries and other organizations will follow with the same principles, with the same rules, and with the same kind of regulation as it was with GDPR. As we know, there are a lot of countries all around the world that actually copied the rules of the GDPR to their legislation. So let's zoom in into the AI Act. And not only AI Act, but also these all these ethical and principle documents that tackle the use of AI share actually the common ground of these values. Of course, human-centric approach is the first one. Do no harm is the basic rule for the AI. What does it mean? In reality, it should mean that the AI system should stop acting when it is harmful or against the human benefit. In practice, of course, very difficult to understand how and why it should be or how it should be approached in real life. Although there are already first case law of different courts, and of course the case law or practice of different governmental organizations in public sector that deal with this kind of issues, but they are minor. These cases are minor still. They don't tackle the real threats, life threatening problems. Transparency, again, a nice word, but what does it mean? First of all, it means that the user of an AI system should know how it is operating. Well, the question of black box, of course, obviously comes to mind. Transparency means also that all the criteria that the AI system uses are openly discussed, and the user is familiar with the fact that the AI is operating, actually, and dealing with one's problems. Trustworthiness, again, something that we value. But what does it mean? It means that the system comes up with the same solution or the same outcome every time the criteria are the same. It also means accountability, that the AI system is built on equal treatment and fairness. And of course, risk-based approach. That is familiar also from the GDPR. And if the risk-based approach is regulated within the AI Act, again, it is up to the case law of the users to actually make it work. But for the EU, there are different levels. There are levels of unacceptable risks. It means that these kind of AI systems should not be used. Well, the first one that comes to mind, if I look at the list of examples, is social scoring. Well, we know that there are countries in the world that use social scoring in everyday life. In China, for example, people are assessed every day if they cross the road in the wrong place. It is a tickle in their social scoring. If they do something nice, it is also, again, mentioned in their social scoring. Behavioral manipulation. We all know about Cambridge Analytics and how they influenced the elections in US. Real-time biometric identification. It is used. It is used in our phones. It is used in different security systems. It is also used by police in some countries to identify persons walking on the street. So in the future, all these AI solutions should not be operating in our everyday life. Of course, there are exceptions. Then high risk. High risk is allowed, but the user of a high-risk AI solution should take care of the measures that actually smooth the threats. There is a list of activities, for example, education, also labor issues, also justice, asylum, these kind of areas where discrimination is very easy to come, where there are a lot of at risk, a lot of at stake for the future. For example, let's take labor. In Estonian unemployment agency, a person is assessed by AI, and the AI comes up with suggestions of the training, vocational training, also for the benefits maybe. So if this system is biased and treats, for example, people who are with less education or with some, let's say, and it treats them wrongly, not fairly. It is a problem not only for this person, but it is also a problem for the whole system, especially the trustworthiness of the public service. So these systems should operate, they are allowed to operate within the, let's say, public administration, but these systems should be constantly monitored, audited, and not only when they are developed, but also during the deployment, the whole life cycle of the system. And of course, there are limited risks where the risk is minimal. There are minimal transparency rules. There should be possibility for human oversight, for example. And what are the possibilities to actually defend yourself? As I said, we should operate within the current rules. And first of all, of course, the international community should reach out for agreements to regulate the use of AI and make these rules as universal as possible. But this is not in our hands. Different organizations, different communities, but also public sector in every country should first is responsible. They're liable, they're legally liable, and they are responsible of the deployment and the use of AI. So first, make your assessment when you start to develop it. Second, monitor the use and let it audited by independent auditing institutions, let's say. The second thing is to make sure that you have intellectual property rights over your algorithm. Every algorithm is actually a piece of copyright. It is a piece of artwork in that sense. So if you use developers, make sure that the IP rights are rendered to you, that you have copyright, you have also copyright and for the training data, which is essential, because you are the person who has to explain the black box. You have to explain how the AI system works, what are the criteria, and if you don't have the training data, it's a problem. In Germany, for example, German border guard agency tendered an AI system to assess people who are crossing the border. But they really forgot to ask for the IP rights of the training data. So the company who actually developed it, they gave the system, but not the training data. So it was not possible for the border guard agency to actually assess whether this system works correctly or not. If we talk about problems like that are already in the area of criminal activity, I think we have all heard how a bookkeeper or a cashier of the company transferred 2,100 euros just because the board member of the company called him and asked it, but the call was fake. It was made by AI. So make sure that your security protocols are up to date, especially if it concerns about sharing data or data management in general, especially if it concerns your finances and the transfer of money. Because disinformation and fraud is everywhere. I mean, fraud is fraud, whether it is virtual fraud, whether it is done in internet or in the physical world. But the sanctions are the same, but it is much more difficult to prove the fraud, the virtual fraud, because the evidence disappear very quickly. And of course, there are possibilities to find them. Well, finally, also the criminals want to have a good life, and this fraud becomes reality in the real world. Somebody buys a car, somebody pays for the jewelry, and you can actually take the evidence from there. But it is a very long road to catch the villain this way. And of course, if you can't handle it, don't wipe it under the carpet. It is the job still for the law enforcement to help you, even if it's painful, even if it's shameful for you to admit that you didn't update your security protocols, you didn't make sure that your IP rights are rendered, but still, it is a possibility to ask the help from law enforcement, either police or the courts. And there are rules, still working rules, or yet working rules that help you to make sure that the harm is minimal. So don't be afraid of judges. Thank you.